and things like it is the equivalent of the red pill.
This is a technology, it's a computing language, and I can build an app on it.
Is Bitcoin the currency of the future?
Crypto gang, it's the game, big gang, alt gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the huddle gang. Huddle gang, huddle gang, huddle gang. Crypto gang, it's the game, big gang, alt gang, light gang, cash game, blockchain. Whoa, I don't really ever buy stocks, man. No. Haters wanna say I'm in a bubble, man. No. Chew them up like bubble gum. No. Just made a meal with my pocket change. No. Wreck about to go and join the huddle gang. Huddle gang, huddle gang, huddle gang. Ethereum pays for my rent. Bitcoin pays for the vent. Litecoin pays for the jet. Bitcoin cash for the rest. Spent 30 racks on an ICO. What coin did you buy? I forgot, yo. Just got started last night, bro. And I'm already hooked like a pipe stove. Flipping the coin, making it grow, taking it slow, letting it go. Cash flow's growing, it's incredible to watch it flow. Stacking the cash, taking it home, making it fast. I'm on a roll. Little bit mo's all I ask for the bubble though. Currently, learning about a new type of currency. Burning the dollar down like an emergency. Urgently, listen, my friends have been urging me. Coins have been surging, we're earning like surgency. We on a mission, man. Crypto maniac. Act like you don't really know about it. Stop that. Bitcoin blowing up like a bomb. Step back. Used to be a couple $100. Should've copped that. Blew up on a scene from the mind of a brainiac. Back in 2009, where the mine is at. Silk Road, baby, it's gotta be anonymous. Satoshi blew up, now we on the map.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero. A day late, but always on time when needed. I hope everyone has had the best New Year's. I hope you guys rung it in the most ultimate of fashions. I hope everyone was safe, got home, and as now we are officially into 2024. It's our time, crypto bros. That's all I gotta say. I am hype. You know, I was listening to The Modern Investor this morning. We're obviously recording this on Monday the 1st. And he was talking about the FUD that's in the system about, you know, Bitcoin being in a bearish market. Read information about Bitcoin being in a bearish market. And prior to recording, Bitcoin jumped up from 42 to 44,000. So clearing all the people who shorted the news. Like, and it just goes back to what I always say. Like, you cannot trust the news. The other thing you can't trust is YouTube. So you need to make sure that if this is your first time tapping into the channel, if you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe. Definitely hit the like button, and most assuredly make sure to share this with your audiences, because as always, the Wolfpack has plenty of room for people who are on the same mission that we are, and that is to win in the game of life. Specifically on Crypto Portfolio Updates, we are trying to win in the cryptocurrency space. Over on Future Financial Strategies, we are trying to win via maximizing what we have coming in. And I understand that there's going to be a lot of people who tell you to just keep going and making more money. You can buy whatever you want, just make more money. But that isn't how wealth is generated. You've got to maximize the income that you have coming in, and you have to be able to efficiently get those dollars working for you to also make more money. So, you know, I'm a big advocate of maximization. I do believe at a certain point, there's definitely going to be a need to get out there and increase your income. Nothing wrong with that. I also believe in increasing your income while you're in the position that you're in. So that way you're maximizing. So that way when you do get more money, you're not just living hand to mouth. You're not expanding your lifestyle to just match exactly what you're bringing in, so that you're constantly set at broke, complaining about not being able to invest. Now, today is a special episode. We're doing the Tools of the Trade series. It's early in the bull run. It's still pre-halving, so I'm going to try to make sure to get some information out into the algorithm, out into the ether that I deem important, and I'm going to go through the tools that I am using or considering using. Now, this one specifically is sponsored by Delta. They were kind enough to give me a little behind the veil look at their application giving me the full pro feature to test out. They wanted me to give an honest video. They are not aware of the response to this. They were like, hey, test the software. Let us know what you think. So we're going to do a breakdown. We're going to take a look at exactly what I thought, pros and cons. We're going to break down some specifics. We're going to go over all the pro features in their entirety. We're going to have a good old time with this. Also, the bag chasers and my family over at Circa 84 will be getting this ahead of time. So you guys will be getting this on the 1st. Everybody else will be getting this on Wednesday, the 3rd. Happy hump day to you. If you are not having the week that you want, it is not too late to make the change. You catch this halfway through the week. Kind of important, kind of a big deal. Always a good thing to note that, you have agency over the way that your week goes, people. But before we get to the important all-inclusive Delta breakdown, we're going to get to the fun part of the show. Let me go ahead and add that to the screen. Get me down here small in the corner. And we're going to have to do the old refresh. So, first and foremost, we're going to have the top 5 gainers and losers, but we're going to also be adding to that the trending coins. So let's take a look at what's trending. We have FEG ETH. Not familiar with this at all. Tectum. Also not familiar. And FEG Binance Smart Chain. Also not familiar. That's interesting. I always like to take a look at the trending. I really like their new landing page with the highlights of what's going on. Market cap is up 4.5%. That is wonderful. As we can see, Bitcoin is currently sitting at $44,651.73 after we were already starting to get reports that we are in a bearish trend and we were not going back above 44,000. And yet here we are back above 44,000. If you are trading the news during the bull run, you will be perpetually on the wrong side of trades. I'm just going to throw that out there. You can do your own research and peg against this. Whatever the prevailing sentiment is, either way, the bull run is the bull run. And then the common thing that we learn, those of us who have been in the bull run for a long period of time, is that the only thing you can expect Bitcoin to do is what you don't expect it to do. If you think it's going to be perpetually going up forever, get ready for the retracement. If you think it's going to retrace and we're back in a bear market and it's going to go down, which is what they love to tell you on YouTube because it gets clicks and it gets people to watch, expect to catch a pump that's going to wipe out all the shorts. Like, it's just what happens. So let's jump into this, and then we're going to jump into the portfolio. And we're gonna go ahead and get the portfolio tapped up and ready. You know what I'm saying? We'll do that. Yes, sir. We are ready to go. We're having an interesting turn of events in here. So, first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and do the top 5 gainers and losers. Let me see what we got here on this page. Let's see. Can we blow this up a little bit? Yes, we can today. Okay, making sure we got 5 on there. Okay, now that my big head's out of the way, we're going to jump on here. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we've got at number 1 on the top 5 gainers, which I hope that everybody gets to be a part of at some point during the bull run. You always want to have a coin in the top 5. I want y'all to get some big wins. Now, obviously, we're not having the biggest wins over here today, but they are good, healthy wins. At number 1, we've got at rank 520, we have Avalanche, XAVA, with a gain of 54.3%. At number 2, we have at rank 240, Neon, Neon, and they have had a gain of 46.5% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, we have at 358 Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu ETH coin, Bitcoin, and they've had a gain of 42.9%. Good Lord, don't chase memes, people. At number 4, at rank number 774, we have Manifold Finance, FOLD, at 39.5% gain in the last 24 hours. And at number 5, we have at rank 717, Altered State Machine, ASTO, with a gain of 38% in the last 24 hours. Not bad. Now, moving over. Oh, we got to do a refresh because stuff has changed. There we go. Good God, come on now. Quit playing games with me. I'm sick of you. Okay. On the top 5 losers of the day, unfortunately, I hope none of you are over on this list because it is not the fun list to be on. It's the Santa's naughty list for those of you who are just still celebrating the holidays. Obviously, this isn't a bad retracement for a bull run. These could just be healthy retracements. The numbers keep changing, but the ranks do not. So the numbers actually aren't changing, but they're messing with me. So at number 1, at 142, at rank 142, we have Teller Tributes, TRB, at 21.9% retracement. Since yesterday, they're down 21.9%. It keeps changing to 14.8%. We're not believing it because when we refresh, it goes back to 21.9. Otherwise, it wouldn't be at number 1. At number 2, at rank 489, we have Guild of Guardians, GOG, with a pullback of 19.3% in the last 24 hours. At number 3, we have at rank 637, we have Honeyland, HXD, with a pullback of 15.1% in the last 24 hours. At number 4, we have at rank 814, Jesus Coin, JESUS, with a pullback of, 13.9% in the last 24 hours. And last but not least, at number 5, we have Picasso at a rank of 517%, with the token PICA and a pullback of 13.5% in the last 24 hours. Rounding out the end of the top 5 losers list. Hope you guys enjoyed that part. I know everybody loves it. They love it a lot. Hold on. Actually, since numbers have been changing, we'll go ahead and refresh this one more again. Boom. All right, so we're going to jump right on in to the portfolio. First thing we're going to note over the past 24 hours with this recent Bitcoin pump that I am not going to try to divine. I'm going to assume that the automated buys that the institutions are using are running the market within a range, which means when it gets to a certain bottom point, it gets bought back up. We've got a lot of ETFs that are getting pre-funded right now. We have institutional buyers that are buying. I'm sure we'll hear news through the week about that specifically. We'll figure out who buys. Every time we goes around, it's like the price dips, and then next thing you know, MicroStrategies has bought another 1,000 Bitcoin or whatever, and somebody's buying. Somebody's buying these dips. You should be buying these dips. When the market is red, that's when you make moves. I don't know how many times I've got to say it, but I will keep screaming at the top of my lungs. That's when the moves are made, people. Now, in regards to the 24-hour, obviously, we're up 4.54%. Total for the year already, we are up 17.32%. We've got some positions doing work in these spaces. Now, you look at the pie chart, you can see we're moderately diversified. The bulk of everything is in synthetic networks. Second position, obviously, followed by Solana. Makes sense. everything else is pretty well distributed because we have a lot of liquidity positions. A lot of this is income producing. We did the end of month financials. I've already got that done. We're ready for the episode of Future Financial Strategies. I had to wait to record because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to make any buys or make any large moves through Sunday. I decided not to. But one of the things that we did note was we have blown through our bear market stretch goal of $150, which is awesome, which means that now we're going to have to re-up that and see what we're projecting out for the bear market ranges or the bull market ranges, which are going to definitely be a lot higher than the stretch goal, because during the bear market, obviously the money trickles in. During the bull market, I don't think it's going to be what it was previously, but I am seeing some opportunities to make some moves, and we're going to have to start visiting those opportunities. So we're going to start building out into some stuff. Now, with that said, we have some interesting things that are going on, but obviously we're not going to say anything till we're getting ready to make the moves after we figure them out, because I definitely got put onto some game that has me thinking about some additional positions. Additional positions in addition to the live stream that we did on the last episode of Guns and Butter, which the last episode of Guns and Butter every month is going to be Crypto Bro dedication. So for those of you who are looking to get your questions answered or want to talk shop live, you do have the opportunity to come up and talk with me, but a lot of people just talk with me from the chat for that episode. And it was a solid 2 hours of just me talking. Nobody even came up and rocked out last episode. I also forgot to drop the link because no one said anything about it, which is cool, but it was a great show. It was a great show. And, we got to have a live example of do your own research. We went down some rabbit holes. It was a good conversation. That put me onto some different game, but just having to research the market regularly also put me onto some opportunities from a liquidity provider perspective. Because I'm always looking for opportunities to generate income within the space, get that money working harder. So we found an additional opportunity that I might have to do a breakdown on. We're going to have to see if we can move some funds over into that as well. I'm excited about it. Definitely something I'm looking forward to. And we're going to have to get active on it, because I am a huge fan of income opportunities. It's kind of my jam. But let's get into this top 10. Remember, we are going to skip the stable coins. So we're going to get started at position number 1. We have Synthetics Network, SNX. And you know what? You know what we're going to add to this now? We're going to add to how that position is performing. That's what we're going to add to this, because I feel like it's some proper context. People are like, oh, why are you holding that? Or what's the position going? And I mean, I know it's up here on the screen where you can see it, but for those of you who are not watching, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, I listen to a lot of YouTube content. I don't watch the videos. Actually, barely ever. Unless they're talking about something that I need to see and then I have to open up my phone to look at it, I don't watch. I just consume and listen while I'm working, normally while I'm doing something else. So I'm going to assume that those of you who are also like me, that are listening to this while you're doing something else to get your crypto fix for the day, I'm going to start breaking down these positions so you ain't got to look at it. So my number 1 holding, these are my top 10, and I am skipping over the stable coins because they don't really add any value. They're part of liquidity positions, and I'm not just sitting around holding piles of cash, and I don't want it to be perceived as such. So we're skipping over the stables because they really don't mean anything right now. Actually, they never do, because there's never a pile of cash. There just never is. So let's jump right into this list. Top 10 holdings at present, at time of recording, January 1st, 2024, in the 2024 portfolio. At number 1, we have Synthetics Network, SNX, and we are up 88.57% on that holding position, doing work. And the reason it's only at 88 and no longer at 300 was because we made a few large buys after the price had already pumped to add to / round out the position, because I wanted a whole number on it. That was a specific target number, and we went ahead and made that happen. And number 2, we have Solana, SOL. That position also, obviously, shout out to Anthony in the Discord over in the Bag Chasers. Dude was on my neck about this position. Got in well late. He got to talk his good trash on me. You know what I'm saying? Because he'd been telling me about it since it was $8. We got in well after $8. Fair enough. It's part of the plan. But we are up on that position 47.96%. Number 3, we are at Grail, or we are at Camelot token. Grail, Grail. Grail. My bad, dyslexia. Deleting letters. That position, we are currently down 1.55%. Little bit of red. Understandable. At number 4, we have Ethereum. ETH, obviously, we're stacking as much Ethereum as possible this year. Making plays on the Ethereum. We are currently down 0.31%. These two positions, they're both high dollar tokens. And, you know, we're waiting for the bull run. The thing that I would add in about Ethereum, though, you guys got to remember, Ethereum runs late in comparison as far as like the altcoins go. It is a late mover historically. Like it runs well behind everything else. It kind of has its own little thing that it does on its own time scale. That's a little bit after everything else moves. It's a laggard coin. So those of you who are getting antsy about your ETH position, ETH just has a longer accumulation phase for the bull run. For those of you who are looking at it short term, those of you looking long term, we really don't have anything to worry about, because we know ETH is going to do what ETH does. I'm not planning on selling off ETH this run, and I'm hoping, you know, what would be nice is if we get like a nice little pump, because like Solana's doing numbers right now. It's pushing hard, continuing to push hard. Now, if I can get the Solana position to push, because Solana is not a long-term position. It's a 16, 24-month position. But we're not doing any conversions of anything. We're not even looking at, I'm not even really scalping, with the exception of scalping within the ecosystem to like stack within these ecosystems until after halving. I want to know what's going on post halving. No matter what happens pre-halving, I'm looking at halving post before we start making any moves. And I understand that Ethereum is going to be the last thing to move. It's going to be boring. And when it runs, it's just going to run. And people are going to be like, oh, Ethereum, it's interesting again. Happens every cycle. Fine about it. At number 5, we have Wrapped Ethereum, WMatic. And at that position, we are up 20.78%. Beautiful. At number 6, we have Arbitrum, ARB. At that position, which, remember, we got a pretty decent size Arbitrum airdrop last year. It's beautiful. It's a good little stimulus. We didn't sell it all. We didn't convert it all. We saved some. Well, this year we went ahead and added to the position. On those funds, we are up 42.74%. Number 7, Thor Wallet DEX. TGT. Obviously supporting the Thor platform. Riding the waves on it. These are in an active stake position as well. Actually, basically everything that's going to be in the top 10 is in an active stake position. But Thor Wallet DEX, we've been staking since last year. Is one that we rolled for. We did not cash it out because we were utilizing that platform. We get discounted fees based on the amount that we have staked. Also, you get residuals based on the stakingness of what we have staked. So we're just kind of letting that ride. We're trying to make some decent swings with that to get additional Thor Wallet DEX token stake. We are up 102.49% on that position. Always a plus to have some 1Xs already. We got that 1X going. Number 8, we have Wrapped Bitcoin WBTC. Another anchor position that we've got staked and working. And on those coin holdings, we are up 52.69%. Beautiful. Loving it. At number 9, we have Wrapped Staked Ether, WSTEH. ETH. On that position, we are up 9.11%. I'm with it. And last but not least, we have Synapse from Synapse Protocol, which is a great bridge. Those of you who like bridges, definitely recommend using Synapse. It's super useful. Works like a charm. That position, we are up 5.02%. And that rounds out the top 10. Now we're going to jump into the meat of the show. Now let me share this tab. I'm going to have some overlays while we're going over this. Now, obviously, we've had this before. As soon as they got us in for the trial period to test us out to do this review for Delta, shout out. This episode and all episodes previous while we were running that review period, all sponsored by Delta. We definitely wanted to make sure to talk about Delta as much as possible. But this is what they actually wanted. They wanted me to test the software. They wanted me to use the software. They wanted me to be active on the software, import the data, get the information out of it, see what I thought, see what I think. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a breakdown of how I utilize the app, and then my thoughts on how it was utilized, my thoughts on the pro features. So we're going to be jockeying back and forth between the website and my personal use of the app. And then I'm going to give you my verdict on whether I think it is worth it, because they have the free version, but like I also wanted to touch on the pro features. That's really the reason that they gave me full access to the pro features. So that way I could make my assessment on what I thought about it and actually get into the nitty gritty. And like, actually it's really good on them. Like, I've had a decade in the space. I use a plethora of tools. There's a plethora of tools, and there are a plethora of tools that you can pay for. And the question is, does it help? Because you can have all the tools in the world. It's kind of the analogy that I give is you can get the best camera and the best equipment on the market for photography and not be a good photographer, because it's an art form. So it's not necessarily the tools. It's the eye. It's the way that you compose the shot. It's your style. Not tool dependent. I know people that will take some of the best shots ever and can really do some crazy stuff with lights, and they don't need a $5,000 camera. They don't need the $10,000 camera. They don't need a Canon Mark Series camera. They can do it on a Sony a6000, a Sony a7000. They can do it on a lower grade, not professional camera, because they're like, the megapixels are there, the data's there. I can make this work with a less expensive camera. Does it look cool when you show up to the event? No. But there's also professional photographers out there that will show up and do the entire shoot on an iPhone. So it's not the equipment. But some equipment does make things more efficient. So that's going to be the question as we're doing this tools of the trade, because a lot of the stuff that I use is free. And the reason being is, if you know what you're doing and you know where the data is and you know what you need to do, then technically speaking, you don't need to be spending thousands of dollars a year on softwares, unless it's making what you're already doing more efficient. And some of this stuff is expensive. But the question is it useful, or is it something that people have that they just have? So, with that stated, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So, we'll go ahead, and I think I can just throw these up over this, actually. So this is, we'll just throw it up over the page. Perfect. So this is the Delta portfolio view. Obviously, it's showing when the screenshot was taken. So the other thing was, the reason we're doing it this way is because Delta does not, at present, have an online application. So this doesn't port directly over online. I wish it did. I would love it way more. Like, that's the only thing that it doesn't have. And like, only reason being is sometimes when I'm working, like, I'll have to do like a screenshot of my setup here, but like, I have a computer that I'm facing right now. I have my phone that I'll be working on, and I have another computer off to the side over here that's specific for crypto. But what I do is sometimes I will pull to input my moves and trades. I'll have CoinGecko pulled up over here. And the fact that it's a browser-based deal makes it a lot easier for me with my workflow, because like, I can make trades over here, be inputting the same information over here into the software. But then I also have to have my phone out to put it in Delta, which is fine, because like, I will normally move based off of, like, the CoinGecko is the golden ledger for me, because it's easier to pull up and see those trades to import into Delta. So I'll put all the trades in there, and then I'll go back for that day at the end of the day, and I'll move the trades or the moves that I made into Delta, and then they just match. So this is what it normally looks like. It lets you know down there at the bottom where you're at. The pro version of this also gives you live data. So like, as the market's moving, you're seeing these numbers move. It's super convenient, because CoinGecko, you're waiting for the refresh. So your data's always a little bit old. Now, for active traders, of which I am not, the Delta Pro feature of having an active running, this is running with the market, this is the latest number of what it is great, because then you can set your alerts, and if it's running actively in the background, like, you get a ping like, hey, if this hits a price metric where you need to look, or you need to get back behind that computer and start making some moves, Delta's got you covered, because it's giving you a live heads up. Like, that in and of itself, very, very useful. Now, when we get to the pro features, I'm gonna pull this down really quick. So obviously, it gives you the portfolio overview. I think that's super, super useful. The other thing that this does now that it did not used to do when I originally got involved with the software way back when, because Delta's been around for a long time. That's the other thing that I keep forgetting to mention, because a lot of people come into crypto and they'll be like, oh, this app, like this, like, I'm like, Delta's actually been around. In 2013 when I first got into the market. I'm not sure how far after that they were in, but I'm pretty sure they were there around the beginning, because I used it for a little while. But it was back then, all the tracking apps were very crude and rudimentary. So like, you got to think we're a decade later. They've made upgrades. Not only have they made upgrades, this not only tracks your crypto portfolio, but you can actually track your traditional finance portfolio, which I found super useful. I can import my whole deal in there, the whole ledger. I can just throw it all in there, and it's tracking my trades when I make them, giving me insights and information on them. That also is super useful, because not only can I look at my crypto portfolio, I'm actually, hedging, if you would, back into the traditional finance portfolio, because I am way over leveraged in crypto. Like, my crypto holdings dwarf and cast a long shadow over everything. But during a bull run season, we focused on crypto first. So obviously we're bulging that portfolio out even further, and I'm fine about it. I'm here for it. I like it. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now as far as what we're doing with the portfolio going into this year. I'm assuming this whole first quarter of 2024 is going to be crypto exclusive investing until we hit previous all-time high. That's my demarcation point for my investment funds being diverted over there. We will be pulling back on the housing funds once we get to 45,000. We'll start focusing back on that QQQ position and getting stuff lined out over there. But until then, we are going to be full bore into the Bitcoin space. We've got a really good position currently in regards to the housing to let that run. We're gonna let that run. We'll start dollar cost averaging it out at the previous all-time high, because that's going to give us a good amount of gains. Obviously, we're going to have some cap gains tax on that because it's coming out of the market. So that's the plan, though, is just all money in. We got well, it's not a little bit. It's a good chunk. It's going to be a chunk of money that'll be filtering its way back out. And as we filter that out, we'll probably be putting that over into something slow moving or into the QQQ position. And then we will bring that QQQ position out when we're ready to put our down payment for the next property, when we sort that out and figure out what we're doing with it. But yeah, you can track both your crypto and portfolio. It also tracks your NFT. You can sync it to your wallet. Now, this feature, the auto sync feature, I did not use, and I'll tell you why. I'm not 100% sure what happens with that data on the other end. And connecting a wallet to a centralized anything that has data is in effect doxing yourself, which eliminates the whole point of the anonymity of being able to protect your identity in crypto. So I did not utilize that for crypto. Now, with my traditional finance accounts, absolutely synced them, because I've already given up all that information, and you've already given up all that information. But it was just one of the things that I did not use. But for those of you who want something where you don't have to input your trades, you don't want to have to input any of your stuff, and you just want it automatically cataloged, the auto sync in the portfolio would be very amicable. I also don't know how that works with like liquidity providing and how it works that out. So some of that stuff I like to track manually, because like, especially with liquidity providing with LP positions, I like to put at least the start metrics in there. So that way, roughly what the pools of money are. Now, obviously, my positions are in there for 6 months to a year minimum. Usually longer if I don't have to migrate them, or they're not upgrading to different pools, or the pools are semi within a metric of an APY that I want, and I'm getting the rewards and it's generating the income that I want. I don't move those. Like, I'll let them sit indefinitely if I can. So when I pull them out, like those positions have usually grown because like you've collected fees, like you've added share to the pool. They've grown. So normally, once you cash out of a liquidity position, you get all your fees and stuff from you providing that position. And so for me, normally I end up with more tokens than when I went in, because they're sitting there so long. Now, I understand that you can run into some major issues if you're in there for a little bit. There's impermanent loss and all that stuff. But under most circumstances, in my experience, I leave them in there for a very long time if possible. So when I cash out of that position, I'm collecting a bunch of fees and all of those things that are therein tied to those positions. I end up with more tokens than what I put in. And I'm expecting as such, especially during the bull run. Like I'm planning on those positions cashing out at better in an appreciated state from when I put them in, when I pull those tokens back out. Now, let's see here. What was the next one? So one of the things that I find very interesting is, and this is where a lot of the pro features live, is the portfolio insight. So this was the current one at this time. And it's got a couple of different things in here that I find super useful and insightful. So like when you pull up your portfolio insights within the app, it's got all of these. So like you can compare your portfolio to Bitcoin in general and the S&P 500. So it gives you a couple of measurable metrics. So you can go, cool, like if I was in traditional finance, this is what it would do. This is what the portfolio did. This is what it would have done if I would have just invested in Bitcoin. So you can see how you're performing, because a lot of people do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of trades. They do a lot of this. They do a lot of that. And they don't have any type of insight into how they're doing. And they don't have insight into whether they're even growing their wealth, which is another thing that I find super interesting. You find a lot of these gurus in these finances spaces, and they can say whatever they want on the internet, but you can't, like, they're not doing an end of the month financial breakdown. They have receipts. They're like, I got a lot of money. Look at the money I got in the bank account. Look at how much money I spent. I spent a lot of money. But if you're showing a bank account that you're spending a lot of money on business expenses that you're actually writing off, that's a totally different window to be looking in than like your personal finance. Now, if your personal finance or your business expenses and you're commingling funds, and that's kind of illegal. So half truths. The half truths are what get you all caught up. So you can say, oh, I spent $30,000 last month. A lot of businesses spend $30,000 a month. A lot of businesses spend more than $30,000 in a month. Mine does. We buy parts. But if I was to show you the business credit card and act as though those were my expenses, like those are two different things, because if they're your expenses and they're no longer tax write-offable than if it's a business expense. Unless, of course, you're like, like it's what it is. But the other thing that you don't hear people talking about is like, are you making those progressive steps towards your financial goals? Like, are you growing your net worth? Do you know what your net worth was in comparison to this month last year? Did you make more did your net worth increase more over this year than it did the year previous? Are you making moves that are moving you forward towards your goal as opposed to further away from your goal? These are the questions, and these are the things that people don't necessarily divulge and they don't want to talk about. But within the Delta app, you have two metrics, because in the crypto metrics, like our S&P 500, which would be our standard, is Bitcoin. So if you're not beating what you would have done with Bitcoin, then, you might not have wanted to do that. Like, you would have been better off just investing in Bitcoin. And like, there are a lot of times once I started actually tracking this stuff where this would have been useful earlier in my investing, in my entrance into the crypto space, where I would have been like, oh, I'm not beating Bitcoin. Like, I could have just bought Bitcoin, because the reality of that scenario is, in 98% of cases, I'll say 90, outside of the bull run, you're better off just buying Bitcoin, to be honest. Like, I'll let some positions sit, and I'm gonna go through and I'll have my minimums on the positions that I want to be in after the bull run's over, and I'll have my bare minimums, and I'll convert out down to the minimums, and I'll let those ride over the bear market. But in most cases, after the bull run's over and all the fun's gone and everything pulls back, because we don't know what that's going to look like. If we get this ETF, that pullback might be different, these markets might get efficient. At minimum, the Bitcoin and Ethereum markets, the top 10 will get real efficient. If the top 10 get real efficient, then you're not going to see the retracements in the altcoins either. So now if nothing tanks 70% at the end of the year, you're in a different space. Now it's just what it is. Now we're just here. That could be a different game for some of you. It'll definitely be something to think about for me, because it's like, well, if we're not going back, then do I need to get rid of these positions, or do I just continue to let what I'm doing within the market? Because then the game changes. It's like, okay, well, like I'm in the DeFi space. Like, are we going to just keep buying Bitcoin and Ethereum off that? Do we just take what we need to do, get our loans repaid, and convert those Ethereum that we get back over into staked Ethereum and start filling up the coffer in the retirement ledger, the retirement cold storage, and just let it sit in there and slowly trickle up, and just live on it and be good. Be like, we'll worry about this later, and wait till the next bull run where we jump up a peg. Now, are we going to 5x next bull run after the market becomes efficient? Maybe not. Maybe it's a 1 or 2x. And that's all we're getting, which won't matter for those of us who've been here, because like we've already done the work, as long as you're not selling off, cashing out, hoping that the price goes down. Because like, what if you cash out and like now the only option you have is to get back in with less Bitcoin? That's just what it is moving forward. These are things we need to think about. But like this overview, specifically the portfolio performance section, super interesting. That gives you a different way to look at things, because you know what? Having the SPY up there really doesn't even matter to me, because most years I can beat that in crypto. That's just what it is. We're beating it right now, crushing it. It's great. The next section is the good and bad decisions. Now, this one was interesting because it was kind of a love-hate area, because I was like, at first, there were no bad decisions, and then it bases it on whatever the price is at the time, which is fine. If all you're basing this on is, hey, you bought this at this price, you're either upside down or you're not upside down. But if you're upside down, that makes it a bad decision. The thing, I don't agree with that, in the sense that within the crypto space, I can buy something, it can hit red. Like, for instance, referencing back to my portfolio, because like right now, I'm going to show this for a second. Well, you will just remember the Grail token that I was talking about is down 1.55%. That was under the bad decisions, because I just bought it. Like, obviously with fees in it, fully loaded, you're going to be a little bit behind. So it's a bad decision at that point. The context that's left out is that was my stake to support the platform. And while it's staked, I get dividends off the transaction fees on the platform. So that position's actually generating income. So that 1%, I got that end of the month for the cash out. So we're actually not in that 1%, because it's an income generating position, which most of my positions are. But like, you don't get any context, because like that doesn't really go into, well, what are you doing with it? It goes, you're holding it. It's very, the good decision, bad decision is very much for traders. And I think long-term holders, it's just, you got to get used to seeing some of these decisions be bad until they're not, which is the reality of the situation. Because like, once those positions flip green, we can look at the NASDAQs, which we got out of at a premium, made a little profit on it. So it technically, if they would have had that token in here, it would have counted as a good decision. The entire year that we was eating off NASDAQs, producing income, building the bag up because we were buying the dips, selling off the excess, scalping it to keep it at a certain metric. It was a bad decision until it wasn't. Once it flipped green, it would have jumped over to the good decision. And I feel like when you initially go into a position, it's going to wind up over on the bad decision until it has time to move. And that's just one of the pro features that I think is awesome. Also, you get the portfolio diversity, which is not a pro feature, but I like it because it like breaks it out. One of the things that's kind of weird about that though is it doesn't have the breakdown of categories. So like if you go on CoinGecko has like a really good breakdown of the space. They have literally all of the different segments. Unfortunately, the CoinGecko portfolio and app does not let you know what segments you're necessarily in. It doesn't even have this, but it has DeFi as a section, it has currency, and then it has unknown. Most of the stuff that I have fell under the unknown. And I'm like there's also smart contracts, there's a bunch of different deals. There's like GameFi, NFT platforms. Like there's a bunch of different segments that you could break this out into, but this was interesting in the sense that it gives you some semblance of an insight into where your stuff is if you're looking to have a diversified portfolio. Now we'll go take a closer look at the decisions. So this is mine. I've got 10 bad ones. So it shows that I sold Matic for USD. Obviously, this was a convert into Matic, sold out to USD immediately to make a liquidity position. But it was when Matic was down that I had it, held the Matic a little bit. Matic goes down, made the sale at a loss based on this going, oh, well, you traded as though like I walked out of the market. I did not walk out of the market. I halved the position into USD so that I could stake it so that it could generate income while I'm holding it. But that counts as a bad decision. Sold Rune for USD, and obviously the Rune that got sold again to make a liquidity position, but it got sold on the Ethereum network. Fees are high. Bad decision. I've got 3 buys on here that fell under good decisions because they ended up being in profit, which is how this gauges. It's just win or lose. Are you in profit or are you not? There's no context. Whenever you made this transaction, were you in profit or were you not? No questions. Now, when you buy, you have the time where it can go, hey, this was a bad decision, but like as we pump, it becomes a good decision. So I feel like this is more or less useful for traders. Because over the long haul, like if you're in this for 10 years, unless you picked dud positions, you should have all good decisions given enough time. So like for a long-term person, this doesn't really, it feels good to see good decisions. It does give you a sense of reinforcement. But this would be more useful for people who are actively trading. So that way, if this was tracking your trades and it's like, hey, you won on this, this, and this one, though, wasn't a good trade. So that way you can go back and research and figure out how you got in that position, why you decided to get out when you did to make that a bad decision. I feel like this is more useful for traders. I do enjoy it. I looked at it regularly, but yeah. So let's take a look here. We got Portfolio Insights number 2. Another pro feature, Assets Worth. Really cool. They also do fee tracking. So as you're putting in your fees, you can see based on like the growth of your portfolio, how you're doing it. Most utilized exchanges. This would be more useful if you actually had it tracking your if you actually had it tracking and synced up with your hot wallet. this would become very useful then, because then you could see which exchanges you're using, how you're jumping around, like where the money's going from. But the fees, I always import accurate fees. I actually overshoot my fees a little bit. Like if I'm not sure, I shoot up, like I round up on those. But the fee tracking, super useful. Your trade statistics, you got 41 moves with 19 assets. And then you have advanced metrics on your positions that you can go into. Also super useful. Let's see. So we did that. This one was also awesome. And I used this with my brokerage account. So this actually gives you a risk assessment. And for this one, which is funny because QQQ's in my brokerage account, I went ahead and just like had it. You can break this out based on the individual brokerages or the collective, but it gives you a score on like the risk, like the volatility of your portfolio, which was cool. Cause like, I was like, okay, like I don't have like a super high amount of volatility. It's it's income-based portfolio. So I'm not looking at a lot of appreciation. That's not the focus. It's supposed to be the never broke again part of my investment strategy. Like I said, it's a hedge. So just like in crypto, everything I do is income based. I want this to generate a salary. Right now, we are trying to get it to generate a portion of a salary. Actually, right now, we're just trying to get it to cover a major expense. Not that we're going to use that, but as kind of a fail safe. Like I want this to be either, actually, I guess my goal at present, I want this to be the mortgage payment of the current property that I'm in. That's the goal right now. That's like my initial, this is what we're building for. This thing needs to make a mortgage payment. Once it generates a mortgage payment, obviously that's going to continue to be reinvested. And then we'll grow it out so that way it continues. But for me, the initial snowball is to get my brokerages. I would like both of them to be at 100. Collectively at 100 would be nice. But my brokerage, specifically the one that's not the Roth, I want that at $100 because I feel like at $100 now it's generating traction. Like $100 rolls quicker. Like right now, the brokerage is spitting out. Oh, Jesus. Hold on. I actually have an actual number on this. I think it's like the brokerage account's spitting out 35. What was the total? Oh, no. It's almost 30. It's almost 30 because I did not. The 401k hasn't recorded it. It records it funny, so I don't get all of it. Like I know what days the dividend hits because my brokerage account over at Citi, which is just an active account. It's my active account. It's like a backup to my savings because like it's 48 hours removed. I can transfer the money in and out. It gets there quick. It goes right to the Citi account and I can disperse it as needed, if needed. But my dividends show up there like clockwork. My Charles Schwab 401k, the Roth, it does not show up like clockwork. Like I know when my QYLD dividend shows up because it's in Citi. Charles Schwab, it does not show up on that day. And I'm like, they only pay dividends once. That's when it gets hit. But then when the markets open back up tomorrow, after I've already recorded the end of month finances, I will probably get the notification that days prior, my QYLD hit because it's at the end of the month. And like at the end of the month this year, rolled into a holiday. And it was like, I think they hit on the 29th, if I'm not mistaken, which I think the banks were out. I don't know. I just, for some odd reason, my 401k does not do it right. And it's upsetting and annoying. 2023. So yeah, 29th hit on a Friday. And I'm guessing that it just didn't record it. And since we're in the New Year's, It's just not gonna, and it's super annoying, and I kind of hate it. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. But looking in here and being able to get the risk analysis, that is a great insight for a traditional finance portfolio. And so for that is one of the things that I heavily utilized over the 30-day trial, where they gave me access to test this. Heavily utilized that for my traditional finance. Now let's see here. Do they have anything? Oh, the insider moves. See, I didn't see. That's the reason we kept the site up. So the insider moves is great. This is interesting because they tell you why things are moving. So they tell you like, hey, and they do this for both traditional finance. It also gives you heads up on your tokens. So synthetic networks, for instance, a lot of the information that you guys got in regards from me, where we were covering the conversion and of them making the tokens not inflationary so that they weren't so that the token holders who weren't staking weren't getting inflated out of existence. They were just getting value taken from them. All the information about them doing the buybacks, I got that information before. I mean, people still aren't talking about it. And like synthetic networks price has been pumping. Like it's been pumping hard. Like they're doing buybacks. They're actively started doing that. They're whittling down the interest rate on the loans. It's a slightly negative loan now. So you can go get some free crypto money over there, which is cool to disperse out into other plays. But that said, it's a lot of that was because the pro feature at Delta, everything that they released, I was getting information on it as they released it. It was great. Like as soon as they uploaded it, got the information. Here it is. The insider moves on like traditional finance stuff. You can see the big players moving in the markets. Great. You get extended hours. You get access to pre and post market sessions for the holdings that you have. And you'll always see the like it says on here, you'll always see the most accurate portfolio value possible. So you can get up early. You can see the market moving before it actually moves. It is great. The why is it moving? Super useful as well. You see Bitcoin pumping. They can divine the tea leaves for you. They'll give you a place for those of you who like to look into that as to why. I see that. Oh, I did tap into those. Like there were some days where I'm like, oh, Bitcoin's doing it. Okay, cool. Like what's going on? Just to get like a synopsis, understand why. With your traditional finance holdings, same deal. Something spikes, you'll be able to get the news that people are acting off of so that you can act accordingly. Oh yeah, yes. So the portfolio performance, we went over that. Went over the fees, went over the good deal, the asset worth. Yeah. And yeah, I think that covers all the pro features. The advanced metrics, those are really cool. They have a monochrome mode. I didn't use it. I didn't need to, but like if you're colorblind, monochrome's super useful. I'm not quite colorblind yet, so I did not mess with that feature. So now we're gonna get to the important parts of this. And we're gonna close it down on that. Now, is it worth it? That's my question. And I preface this with there's a lot of stuff out there. There's stuff that I pay for that is expensive. And like we're getting ready to pivot on a few products that I'm using, and like there's one of them that I'm not even going to do a breakdown on because it is maybe if I was an active trader, but like most of the alpha that I've gotten, and I'm paying good money for this product, and most of the alpha that I've gotten is based on the fact that I have to research this all the time. So I'm constantly tapped in the market. I don't even use it. Like, it's got a pretty interesting AI bot on there, but the data is consolidated to that software's information, and I don't know that it's right. Because I've had it for at least 4 years. And full transparency, it's like $650 a year for something that I literally don't use. I just have a subscription to it, and I'm really bad about canceling subscriptions. So as somebody who has paid $600 a year for a piece of product that I do not use, I'm gonna lean into this, and like my verdict on this, because this is roughly, it's like $100 a year. And here, let me bust my calculator out. And so if we bust out the calculator, so we'll say 100 divided by 12. It's $8.33 a month, $100 a year. Is it worth it? 100%, emphatically. And after I'm actually going to go ahead and cancel the subscription on the software that's costing me a toe every year. I'm not gonna say an arm and a leg, it's not that bad, but it's an annoying amount of money because like it hits at an inconvenient time. It's always a surprise. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I probably need to use that, and I use it for like 2-3 weeks. Get nothing out of it. Get no alpha. I've yet to have a hit that's come from that. Back channels and me constantly researching the market are what has brought me alpha. It's either people or my research. The software that I'm paying $650 a month for, I log into it. I'll tell you when I log into it. Every year after I see a $650 bill on my credit card, that's when I log into it. It's about 2-3 weeks of useless me feeling messed up and upset that I bought it again. And I don't use it. Now, the Delta app, I'm in that every day. I look at it every day. I highly use it. So for me, 100% worth it. I believe that regardless of whether you're a long-term trader or a short-term trader, the accumulation of the fact that you can track all of your assets there, definitely worth it. I'm gonna definitely be looking into, because I honestly, for $650 a year, I'm pretty sure that I could, for half of that, get all the softwares that I need on a very high level of things that I would use. And Delta is definitely one of those things that's getting slotted in when we pull that out, because the Delta app, I know I'll use it. I know I use it. I do use it. So the satisfaction value and the actual, because like I said, you can buy all the equipment in the world, but if you don't use it, or you're just not good at whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. So I know that I'm good at what I'm doing because I didn't use that software all last year, and we closed out winning a great deal. Beat Wall Street Trapper with minimal software. I got 30 days of Delta. It added to that. Helped us win a little bit harder. Do I feel like it helped? Absolutely. The insights that we had, the way that I was tapped into the market, the live price feed, I really did enjoy the live price feed. The portfolio insights, the pro features of the portfolio insights, absolutely. Not only would I buy it, I'm going to, because like we're gonna have to shift some stuff around, but that's definitely an ecosystem that I want to be in. I mean, it's useful. It helped. It is what it is. So that is the breakdown of the first tools of the trades series. So when you see these pop up, it's probably going to be over the next couple of weeks, because like I said, I want to make sure we get this out into the market to give you guys some insights and information into the tools that I regularly use and why I use them and how I use them. and how they help me be at the top of my game navigating these markets. So until the next time, folks, dang, this ended up dragging out over an hour. It's your boy, Reckless Ray Dinero, and you're tapped into Crypto Portfolios updates. I would like to thank those of you who stuck around for this long. Make sure, if you enjoy the content, like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you have the bell notification on. I don't drop stuff constantly all the time on my YouTube channel. I'm going to ramp up some more stuff because there's definitely some more insights and stuff that I believe people could definitely benefit from. And so we'll have that, but I'm not just constantly posting stuff just to post, just to have stuff out here in the algorithm. It's either clips of long form content that are shortened down so that way you can glean the insights out of it, or it is something relevant to crypto or finance. It's basically what we talk about over here. So until next week, folks, tap in. Peace.
Cryptocurrency, currency. She love cryptocurrency. Me have a hot sexy girl. Whoa. Yeah. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. Decentralized like a blockchain. Anyway you see me, girl, you know it not go stop rain. Pull up in the Beamer or the Benz or the Bentley. Cryptocurrency, that's what we spending. We not in a lending. No for them a stake, yo. We not in a renting. Bad mind fussy them. Wanna see we ending. Grinding out with face, but call that pretending. Now left me 9 milli. Girl, so we trending. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. She love cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency. She love cryptocurrency. MetaMask wallet. Cryptocurrency. Coinbase wallet. Stack it up. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna go down and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. Me have a hot sexy girl, just a tip jar. She wanna come up and she dips her. She love dancehall and calypso. She no wanna cash, she wanna crypto. She love all me DeFi. And so me make she feel high. Digital currency, I what she need.